I see you there. You're ready to create content. You've got the look, you've got the mic, you've got the camera all set up in the perfect spot, and then nothing. Your mind goes blank. You don't know what to talk about, and you think, I have nothing to talk about. Well, today we're going to fix that. I'm Cynthia, and for the past 8 years, I've been helping people just like you create content and show up confidently on camera. And I hear this all the time. Cynthia, I have no idea what to talk about. And it's not that you don't have ideas. There's always ideas. They're flowing. It's just when you go to sit down and talk about it, your mind goes blank. It happens to me and it happens to you. So today we're going to talk about 3 things that are blocking you from creating content consistently and untapping that tap of flowing ideas so that you never get bored and stagnant with the things you have to say. Excuse me. You're very distracting. The first reason you are struggling with what to talk about is that you are not talking to enough people in real life. And you might be thinking, that's counterintuitive. The whole reason that I'm doing this is that I don't want to talk to people in real life. The thing is, if you're creating content about something, then chances are you probably have experience in that thing that you are talking about. And that experience came from helping others do whatever it is that you are educating and explaining for them. So thinking back to conversations you've had with people, how do you explain the things that you're explaining on video? Do you use certain analogies and illustrations? Do you use certain examples or quotes or whatever it is to really bring that thing to life and help people understand what you're doing? What are those conversations that you're having in real life? And then how can you create content about it? So for me, I like to now pay attention when I'm having coaching calls in real life. And when I see those light bulb moments go off in people's mind because I have explained something or I used an illustration. So for example, recently, I'm always talking about how you have to just get started. You can never be ready before you start creating content. And I used an example of playing a new card game. People can explain to me a million ways differently verbally how you play a card game, but until I actually play the card game, I don't get it. You have to make the mistakes. You have to get into it to understand. And it's the same with creating content. You have to get in there. You have to use the editing programs. You have to post the content. And then that's when you really start learning. That's when it clicks. And so I used that illustration in coaching and I could just see the light bulbs go off. So then I went and created a piece of content about that because I saw the light bulb go off in the person I was coaching and I saw how that helped them move forward. I knew that if I created that online for my audience online, I could then help hundreds of people to have that same mindset shift. Number 1, when you're stuck with ideas, get off the computer, go talk to real people, watch for those light bulb moments, and then come back, turn the camera on, and create content around it. Reason number 2, you're afraid to repeat yourself. Now, I know this one intimately because I used to think I already talked about that. What else am I going to say around it? Or people are going to get bored about hearing the same thing over and over again. But the truth is, we need to hear things multiple times for them to stick. And this isn't because people aren't paying attention. That's the way we are. Sometimes we don't need that information at the time when we first hear it, or we're distracted with something else. And so we're not taking action at that time when we first hear it. But if we continue to hear a message over and over and over again, at some point it's going to hit us in a way that, hey, this actually is something that now I can move forward on because I've heard it so many times that it really makes sense for me to apply it in my life. And the other thing is, not everyone that sees your content the first time you post it, given the Instagram algorithm, all the algorithms, for example, aren't always going to show it to everybody that first time. So someone could have been on vacation when you posted it, or they haven't checked for a long time and they're just not getting that information. So continuing to repeat your message in different ways is going to ensure that everyone who needs to hear it will hear it. And then, of course, it doesn't always stick the first time you say it. Sometimes we have to present information in different ways to hit different people, because some people really, like, let's say some people really love an analogy, and that helps them understand things the most. Others need to see things visually to really get the point. So if we can think about the different ways that we can present information, we're going to hit different people in the way that means the most for them. Instead of thinking it like repetition is boring, I want you to think repetition is strategic, and how can I continue to talk about important things over and over again. Now, the third thing, and I think probably the most relevant, is that you are just not creating enough content. And I know you're thinking that's backwards, because I'm saying I don't have any ideas. I don't know what to talk about. So then how can I create more content? But the truth is, when you are not being consistent and you're not just getting content out day after day, and I'm talking short form content, not these long YouTube videos, but short form content, when you're not consistently just pumping it out, when you do that, it takes away this need for the perfect message. It takes away this overthinking piece. And what happens is you just start putting stuff out there because you've made a commitment to yourself. And that's when people start replying and asking more questions, and you end up having more conversations. And from that, more ideas come. This doesn't mean that you're not going to have creative lulls and moments where you're not inspired. But if you make a commitment to create content day after day, what happens is you're building a muscle. And by building that muscle, you're building discipline and resilience. And so when you do have a lull, you're going to be able to push past it and get something out there, even if you don't feel creative. And once you start doing that, you see like, hey, that maybe wasn't the best piece of content, but I've thought about it some, and now I can explain it in a better way and create more content, right? So it just continues to feed kind of that machine, that content machine, and it becomes so much easier. The more you create, the more you clarify your own thinking, the more you clarify what your audience wants to hear, the more you get over that perfectionism and kind of stop caring, and then the more the ideas flow. So get out there, create consistently, grab a draft, grab a piece of B-roll and a text hook, get it out there, make this commitment to yourself to post 5 times a week for 4 weeks, and just see what happens. Don't be afraid to repeat yourself, have real conversations, use that content, and you will be surprised at how much easier the content ideas start to flow. That's it for me today. If you like this video, hit subscribe and come join me weekly while we create content together.